Let's begin today to unpack this concept of a dynasty. The word itself, dynastia, which has its roots within Latin and also in ancient Greek, is a term that is most probably as old as Asia itself. Every king, every ruler dreamt about building a dynasty from one generation to the next. And history unfortunately testifies to the length and breadth and even brutality that many of these kings have gone to try and build the bridges between one generation and the next. When I consider my own life, I think I have a small advantage in life that I see myself, even though I'm a global citizen, as both Western and African. And when I consider my own worldview, the Western side inside of me is always considering the future, working from this present moment into the future. When I consider the African side within me, I have a very strong orientation towards the past and how do I learn and gain the most out of my past experiences. You know, if I'm only thinking in terms of my Western worldview, what I see quite often is that I fall into the trap of repeating the same mistakes over and over and over because I don't sufficiently learn from my past. On the other side, when I only look through my African worldview lens, I get stuck in the pain and the challenges of the things that I perhaps did not achieve or sufficiently accomplished in my life. I have learned in my own life that bringing these two worldviews together gives me that advantage to consider both the lessons from the past as well as how to effectively plan and project and strategize into the future. This is what I believe is at the core of what a dynasty is all about. Yes, if we look at the literal translation of the word, we would see concepts like power, authority, rulership. And often when we think about the kings of old, those are the kind of things that might come to mind, especially from a more brutal point of view. Yet, if we unpack the concept even further, there are other definitions and descriptions also which I like to embrace. Words like to empower, to enable, to hand over, to succeed. Out of all the different kingdoms and monarchs that I've studied in my life, one of them particularly stands out to me, and this is found within the Jewish context when we think about the famous King David. Now, I have no idea how many kings of sovereigns actually ruled over Israel. I mean, we can go into most probably Jewish or biblical history to find that out. But the second king of Israel, according to history, was King David. And even today, when you meet up with a Jewish person or go to the nation of Israel, you would find that King David is referenced as most probably the greatest king in the Jewish nation who ever lived. Why? Because the history tells that he was not just a power-hungry sovereign that only lived for himself and with greed and aggression kind of dominated the nation. He was a king that had a soft heart. He is a king that considered other people. He was a king that wanted to enable and empower his nation. King David is referred to as a sovereign who was one that served the people. And throughout even legendary history, when we think about the British people and the folklore of King Arthur, what made King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table so different was the fact that it wasn't a power-obsessed king that only lived for himself. It was a king that was there to unite, a king that was there to serve, a king that was there to protect his people. When I think about building an organizational dynasty, these are the kind of thoughts that's coming to mind. Today, it is reckoned that there are 26 nations who has a sovereign lord, a king, that lives from a dynasty point of view, where father and son will continue to rule the nation. Some of these men and women are unfortunately power obsessed. It's not about those people that we want to talk. Some of these rulers are rulers who truly care about their nation, who truly wants to empower. And when we speak to the people in those nations, they speak fondly of their kings. They speak fondly of their leaders who goes before them. We see a similar phenomenon within organizations. Many organizations that I walk into day by day, consult, advise, speak about their leaders with a sense of fear, with a sense of distance, with a sense of brutality almost. Yet there are so many great examples that we will be exploring in this journey. When we talk about the leaders, we see leaders where the people are thankful. They are excited. They love working alongside and for those men and women because they know they have the best interest of them at heart. I want to leave you with this thought. As a leader today, when I walk into your organization, how does your employees, how does your people speak about you? Are you a leader that has a huge power distance? A leader that is feared? A leader where people feel there is no closeness in relationship? Or do the people in your organization speak of you with a fondness, a servant attitude, a heart, leaving a legacy for that next generation? This is not only a question I'm asking you. This is a question that I myself ask myself every day when I wake up. How does my own people view me as a leader?